Oh, all right. Well, we're going to start just a couple of minutes early here, I think. Hopefully you guys can see me and hear me. Everything down here looks fine. Camera's different today. Mic is in a different position today. That's more cleaned up back there today. I've actually done some stuff over here over the last few days to clean that up as well. Hi, how you doing? How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. I actually switched over here because I wanted to toggle a couple of things on so that you guys will show up. There we go. I don't know why it's not showing up there. That's strange. Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do, because those need to go up there. All right. So let's see. We got MZABD, we got James Collins, we got Quiet Association hanging out in the chat with some other people, just kind of lurking around, and that's okay. I appreciate you guys being here, hanging out, ready to jump into today's live stream, especially with it being a Saturday. I know we always do these on Saturday, but yeah, I know a lot of people have stuff going on Saturdays, so I appreciate you being here. I've got my ground control app up here, like in my teleprompter, my Elgato prompter. That's what it's called. But none of the chat there is showing up, so that's not super helpful, and it's why I have to keep looking over here so I can see what you guys are saying. Captain Spudnik gave us a heart. And Quiet Association says it's 6 p.m. in Norway. That's cool. I've never been up there. I went to Scotland a couple of times, but never made it that far north. So, yeah. But thanks for joining from wherever you are. I super appreciate that. If at any point during the live stream you feel the urge to give the live stream a like or a subscribe, that would be awesome. Captain Spudnik says it's 5 p.m. Ms. MZABD says it's 9 p.m. in Uzbekistan. That's cool. Man, it is only 10 o'clock in the morning where I am. So you guys are like 11 hours ahead of where I am. That is crazy. Time zones just always amaze me for some reason. Like, I understand the concept, but it's still such a weird thing for me. Andres Molnar says also 6 p.m. in Germany. Very, very cool. I've only actually been out of the country a couple of times. Both times were to go to Scotland. So not a lot of travel under my belt, but I do enjoy other cultures and finding out where people are from and that sort of thing. So I love when you guys stop by and say hi and chat and hang out for a bit. So oops, let me do that. There we go. That's better. That's better. Collins has got noon 02. He is over on the east coast of the United States. Very cool, guys. Well, thank you so much. As I said before, we're in Scotland. You live in Scotland. Oh, so I spent some time. I was there twice. Each time was a couple of weeks. I was over by Ayr, kind of in that general vicinity. I'm trying to think of other areas yeah, there we go. Other areas that I was in while I was there. Prestwick, I spent some time in Prestwick. I'm trying to see if there's anything. I'm looking at a map here. I guess we can just switch over to there. Oh, I need to fix that. That isn't what I want. Let me drag this down a little bit. I don't know. Fine. Okay. Just down the road. That's awesome. Just trying to see. I believe I went to Kilmarnock. I know I got that wrong. Mostly I was kind of just in this area for the time that I was there. We did go to Edinburgh. We went to Glasgow. We went to the Fringe Fest one time when I was there. I actually really liked it. At one point we went up to Loch Lomond. There was a pub up there that was built in like the 1400s or something, and I had haggis there for the first time, which I really enjoyed. The people up there running the pub were amazing. But yeah, it was a good time. It was a really good time. Really enjoyed it. And then at one point, we were going to we had gone to a place. We'd gone to a place that was it was like Paxton Castle or something. Was it Paxton House? Yeah, that's the place. We went there to just check it out, but we ended up like on one of the roads on one of our ways down here, like we ended up going back north, and at one point we crossed it. We ran into a sign that said "Welcome to Scotland," and I was like, I thought that's where we were, but apparently we had actually crossed. We crossed the border and circled back somehow. No idea how it happened, but I had a really good time both times I was there. Very, very cool experience as somebody who came from a very, very small town in Idaho. But yeah, I had a great time. Would love to visit again. I would also love to go over to Ireland and check that out. No Dean Castle. There was there was also a really big tower that we went and visited. In kind of that area, and then the name escapes. Met the American Disabled Association standards as far as climbing the stairs to get to the top. It was quite the narrow, windy, tall staircase. So anyway, yeah, good times, really good times, really enjoyed it. Also, I didn't do a sound check. I moved the microphone. It was over here, up here next to the camera on this side. I moved it over here so that when I'm over here doing the top-down stuff, I can still use the same thing. So hopefully the audio sounds okay. Hopefully it sounds good. Not clipping or doing any of that nonsense while we're doing all of this. But yeah. So yeah. Hope everything looks and sounds okay. Sound fine. Cool. Also, I changed my camera. For the longest time, I've been using Panasonic G7 as my primary, and I decided to switch to the Elgato Face Cam 4K. No, the Pro. I got the Face Cam Pro. I was going to get the 4K, but it wasn't available, so I spent a little extra, and I got the Pro. So the image quality is a little bit different, and I'm still working on trying to fine-tune the overall aesthetic. This is a much wider lens than I'm used to. Even using the pancake lens on my G7, this is much wider than I am used to. And I'm trying not to do a lot of zooming because it distorts the image more than I would like. So I'm trying to find a balance. I haven't found it yet, but I'll get there eventually. But anyway, the reason we're all here today is because of this app that I had heard of before that kind of got brought back to my attention recently, called Kiwix or Kiwix. I don't know. You're right. The settings also do look brighter than usual. I've had comments about that as far as my backgrounds being very dark, and that was kind of the aesthetic I was going for. But I have had a lot of comments about possibly lightening that. So I thought I'd give it a shot, see how it looks, see how it feels, see if it changes the vibe to the videos at all, whether it's the live stream or the videos themselves, because I literally got this set up yesterday, so I have not had a chance to do a regular video yet. So we'll see how it goes. I can always adjust my shutter speed, my ISO to make it different. Is this open? Yeah, like I can exposure. Yeah, so like my shutter speed. My ISO is currently at 237. I usually run it at like that's 400. That's weird. And then I would like, I might drop it to like 90. Like there's some things that I can do there that I don't know. We'll see. But I'm gonna bring that back down to like 60. Actually, I think 400 there is fine. think that's fine. But anyway, yeah. So, yeah. Oh, so we've got Frank Aguirre, I think. And we've got Jason Budney 76. Thank you guys for joining. Appreciate you being here. I'll eventually get this image aesthetic figured out. Like I said, I just got the camera yesterday, so I'm still working on it. Colin's a little late to the party, says everything sounds good. I appreciate that. But yeah, so basically the reason we're here is because of this. I don't know if it's Kiwix or if it's Kiwix. Like it's a kiwi animal there, and I feel like it would be Kiwix. But I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I don't know how that's supposed to be pronounced, and I'm kind of curious. But I had seen this. I think Tech Hut probably a couple of years ago made a video about this application. And I just kind of ignored it. Not that I was ignoring him, but I didn't really see the point of this application, of this service, this self-hosted service. I want to be clear. I didn't really see the point of it at the time. And as more time goes on, I'm starting to see the point a little bit more and more, especially now that I've done some investigating into it. Not a ton. We're gonna do some of that ourselves today here together as we're digging through this. But basically, oh, this isn't what I want at all. This is what I want. So basically, it says when there is no internet, there is this app, again, whose name I am not sure how to pronounce. It says access vital information anywhere, use our apps for offline reading on the go or on the hotspot, which we'll take a look at. In every place you want to call home, ideal for remote areas, emergencies, or independent knowledge access. And that was what kind of got me interested in this, is that you can, with this, yeah. So these are different libraries that you can download and install in your own self-hosted instance of the application. I'm going to call it Kiwix. Kiwix. Let's call it Kiwix. Let's go with Kiwix. That kind of makes, I think, the most sense now that I've said it out loud. But basically, all of these are different libraries that you can download and install. Looks like I finally hit the bottom. And so basically, you download these .zim files, you add them to the storage wherever you're hosting this. Where I've got a Docker install already up and running. Well, I thought I had it up and running, but I was wrong. Oops, geez. Let me copy that. There we go. There it is. So these are the three that I've got installed here currently, and we're going to take a look through some of this. But the idea is that let's say you've got an issue where your internet goes down a lot, or you're going to go camping. Maybe you're a prepper. Maybe you're whatever the case is, right? And you want to make sure that you've always got access to important information. You know, like there was some stuff in here that I really found interesting. Let's do medical and search. It helps you click search, right? The Wikimed Medical Encyclopedia. More of those. There's different versions of these as far as what's available in them. Let me actually do this. Thought there was, because of this, I need to go here, and then I can do medical, right? Because I had filtered down too much, right? So here we've got all kinds of different medical libraries that we can go into, and these are all free. These are all open source. I want to be very clear about stating that because of the moderators at YouTube. But you know, like for instance, the Wikimed or Wikimed Medical Library, if you come into here, there's all kinds of information in this that you can open up. These aren't opening up for some reason. That's interesting. Let's try this instead, maybe. Yeah, emergency war surgery. We can open this up. Interesting. But anyway, you kind of get the idea that you should be able to browse these things offline. Of course, look, we're on the Kiwix server here, so we're online. We're viewing this online in that regard. But, you know, like, again, I've got this available to me, right? So this is, say, the top 100 Wikipedia articles. I don't know when these were determined to be the top 100 Wikipedia articles, but we've got it broken down by the list of presidents. We've got birds. We've got Antarctica, arthropods, Michael Jackson, Shakespeare. That's an interesting word. Viruses, football stuff, Beatles, Queen Elizabeth. So like you can come into let's look at Shakespeare, right? And this is an article, a Wikipedia article about Shakespeare. And while I understand that this may not be everybody's cup of tea, there are lots of different libraries that we can download and install into our service. This could be interesting to feed into a local LLM. You're absolutely right. It absolutely could be. And I'm sure that this is probably how a lot of local LLMs have been built. I think you're 100% spot on there. But yeah, if we clear all of this out, like there's so much in here. I think the reason we got to the bottom so quickly a minute ago is because I had sorted by like Wikimedia or something. But you know, if you want to learn about Go, if you want to learn about Git, if you want to learn about DuckDB, or like there's medical stuff in here, there is historical stuff in here, there is XKCD. We're definitely going to do that. In fact, I'm gonna pop that open in a new thing. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. But there's a ton of stuff in here. There's so many things. Nginx docs, PHP docs if you want to learn to code offline, Pug, Rust, Stas. Sorry, I got a hair that poked me. What else do we have here? Lots of development stuff, it looks like. Ear training for musicians. Football database. By football, they mean soccer, not American football. Lots of TED stuff in here. Again, more Wikipedia stuff. Again, this is all open source information. This is all easily attainable online. They've just made it so you can have this stored in a centralized repository of information for yourself. TED Travel, Chopin, sheet music, the D&D wiki, if you're into that kind of thing. That would have been hugely helpful when I was a teenager. The Guide to Hitchhiking the World, which I think is a terrible idea, but you know, to each their own. Lots of language stuff in here I'm seeing. So this is very cool stuff. And because of this, you can, let's do this, was XKCD, right? We're going to search. There it is. It's because you're dumb, right? And you can come into here. Interesting. So let's do this. It's 129 megs, right? It is basically a local Wikipedia, but it's not just Wikipedia, right? It is so many other things. It's TED Talks, and it's articles from all over the place that have been consolidated, again, to reiterate, in an open source and free information kind of way that is legal and not an issue. Thank you very much, YouTube. You can bring all of this information to your own setup. So let's take a look at my instance first, right? Hey, Mandy, thanks for joining. Glad to have you here. This is the one I've got. This is my installation. You want to do iFixit? You want to just have all of iFixit's stuff available to you? Here you go, right? You want to know how to repair your Nintendo game console? Yeah, let's do that. You know, and you can. This is all stuff that's local. Here's how to replace the cover on your NES, and it walks you through step by step because this is what's available from iFixit, and their stuff is always really good information. All right, Mandy, thanks for the update. But again, this is just one example, right? You want to repair your Sony game console, whether it's let's do the PlayStation, PlayStation 2, Slim, PS3, PS3 Slim, 4, 5. You can have all of this available to you so that even if your internet is down and you need to repair something, there's so much information here that you can have easily accessible, even if there's no internet, even if you're out in the middle of nowhere where there's no internet to your location. You can have all of this locally to you very, very easily. And I absolutely love that. So I've got, the iFixit, the Wikipedia top 100 and Urban Prepper. As I was going through Urban Prepper, I was amused because, if you were to use this application, if you were to use Kiwix in a prepper situation, like a lot of this is stuff that you need to do ahead of time. So I appreciate that this guy has gone through so much effort to put these videos, these guides, these tutorials, these, basically how to choose a bug out backpack, right? 72-hour food supply for preppers, 72-hour water supply for preppers. This is really good information, but this is stuff that you should do before the apocalypse of whatever variety has hit, right? But again, there's just 3 that I've installed. So I'm going to show you how to install them. It's actually really, really easy, and I dig it. So this is the Proxmox that we put together a couple of weeks ago, and then last week we updated to version 9. And then here we've got a Docker Compose and a Kiwix data folder. Basically the Docker Compose, we do nano Docker Compose. This is the whole Docker Compose at least for a very basic get you started setup process, right? And I think it's great. We've got our service as Kiwix, our image. It's being pulled from the GitHub container repository. It's on port 8080. Of course, you can always change, the first half of that is necessary. And then you're going to decide where do you want to store your Kiwix data. And this is where you're going to download your library files effectively, these Zim files. We'll talk about that. Basically, .zim is just the file extension that they have decided to use for whatever reason. I don't know what it is, but that's what they've done. And basically, we're just saying, hey, the command is going to be anything with the .zim extension is what we're going to look for here. So we can save and exit as necessary. But again, we've got this Kiwix data folder. If we cd into that and then do an ls, here we can see that I've got those 3 Zim files that we saw. We've got the iFixit, the Urban Prepper, and the Wikipedia top 100. Hey, look, that's what we have here. So pretty straightforward stuff. Now, the one thing I will say is that, so we've got this that we want to add to our library, this XKCD stuff. If we click download, it's going to give us the option to do a direct download, figure out what the hash is, or there's a couple of other ways that we can legally acquire these files above board without breaking any laws or rules. However, I can't talk about these, specifically these 2 things at the bottom, because there's a big group of people at the platform that we're on that don't understand that this is fine in a lot of contexts. That's actually what we're going to talk about right now, is how to get these things, right? We're going to specifically, in this case, get the explain XKCD library, right? So we've got this direct right here. This if I click this, it's going to download a .zim file to my local computer, and that doesn't help me at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click it and I'm going to say copy the link address. And I'm going to make sure that I'm in my Kiwix data folder where my other Zim files are. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to type wget, and I'm going to paste in that URL that we just copied from the main repository, and I'm going to hit enter. And it's going to download. Here's my thought on this, right? This worked very well, right? But when we're dealing with very, very large files, when we're dealing with, like when we're talking about Wikipedia, that's like 109 gigs. That that's a lot. I want to see, because we're downloading these directly from the kiwix.org file repository. And if we don't want to necessarily bombard that server, because I'm sure they're paying for their bandwidth. At some point, whether they get a certain amount with their hosting or with their ISP, whatever, if we start bombarding that server with a ton of traffic, that could start costing them money, and we don't want to do that. That's not what good friends do to each other. So what I recommend doing in that case, rather than downloading it the way I did right here with the wget command and that URL, where did it go? This right here. Rather than running this command, what I would encourage you to do is use one of the other available resources like we see right here. Create your own repository of files on a server somewhere on your local network using the acquisition methods listed here. Again, this is above board and legal because it's open source and readily available. I would encourage you to use this and then use a wget from your Kiwix instance from that other download method that you may have used. Use wget to bring it over to where you've got your Kiwix hosted locally. Or if you've got one of those acquisition methods, say installed on a NAS, maybe you deploy this on your NAS. And then it's just much easier. You just drag and drop the files over and you're good to go. That's another easy way to handle that. So I just wanted to present a couple of options on how you can acquire this. Distributed downloads is a really, really good way to describe that. You're absolutely right. I really like that. So that would be my way of handling that. Now, the other thing that we got to pay attention to here that it took me a minute to realize, right? So we downloaded this file. We can see that it's all right here, right? It has been completed. We can see that it's there. In fact, if we do an ls, now we have 4 files, and this explain xkcden, all whatever is all right there, right? All of those files are there, but if we refresh, it's not there. The other thing I noticed, if we go back a directory, so we're in our Docker Compose area, probably don't have to, whatever. If we do Docker Compose restart, I've had mixed results with just doing a restart. A couple of different times I had to, you know what, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna move me up here. Put me right there. I've had mixed results. A couple of times I had to do a full like Docker Compose down, Docker Compose up to get it to work, to get it to recognize the new thing. Interesting. This doesn't. That isn't what I was hoping it would be, especially for it being such a large file. I was really hoping that it would be more than that. Because that was like a 200. Can you share link for download zip file or after? I guess I don't understand the question. So when you're on your self-hosted instance here, it doesn't give the option to re-download those files. I think they've done something different here, so that when you click it, that's not what I wanted. When you click down, like here it says download on your self-hosted instance, it does not. So I'm not sure how. I guess I'm not entirely sure what your question is. You would just go like in the video description. There is a link to the library where we are here, and you can just literally click there. You can just click download on any of these, and you can then find, you can basically Bottlenecks. That's weird. but yeah, you can just click right there, right click, copy link address, go to there, and then do wget just like that, and now you've got that. So you're not going to. I mean, you could. I guess you could find a way to. I wonder. It is not just you, Mandy. Thanks for noticing. I got a different camera. We talked about this briefly. I know you were late. It's fine. For years, I've been using a Panasonic G7. I love this camera, and it deserves to be used more than just a webcam. It gives me great results when I use it. So I bought an Elgato Facecam Pro. That's what we're on right now, is the Facecam Pro. And I'm still working out what I want my coloring to look like for this. So it is a bit more washed out than what you're normally used to seeing on my channel. But I have had a lot of people over the last year or so, because the channel has grown, a lot of people have made comments about, the videos being very dark. So, here we are. We're doing something light today while I go through and mess with my settings in the camera app. In fact, I guess while we're here, I wanted to do that as well. I want to move that down just a little bit. But yeah, like if we come over to my desktop, we can see, like I've got a bunch of settings in here that I need to mess with to get it where I want it. But, I thought I would mess with it at a later time. But yeah, no, things do look different. But anyway, back to MZABD. Yeah, the libraries. There you go. Yeah, you would you might be able to. I mean, you could, if you wanted to, acquire these off of your own server, depending on how you have it, and share them with other people. Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of the Facecam Pro so far. I just haven't done a lot with it as far as adjusting the colors, the ISO, all of that sort of thing, to get the exact look that I'm after. It'll get there. I think it'll just take some time. But I've made some changes recently. Let me see if I can find it. I'll just show you. Where's Discord? Let's see. It was in pictures. It was up here. I'm going to turn that down. I want to make sure that is turned down. There we go. So like this is, you'll start seeing this. Let me actually go full screen on that. You'll actually start seeing this in the background, like as I'm doing glamour shots and that sort of thing for products. You'll start seeing more of this stuff in the background. I got tired of just kind of the white, blank, nasty looking wall. So I got this. Apparently it does UV reactive stuff as well, but I'm not doing anything UV related in here with my lighting. So I cleaned up in here yesterday. I changed a bunch of stuff up yesterday, moved the microphone, changed some lighting, that sort of thing. So it was time there. That's what you'll see more likely in the background, more of that kind of thing. But yeah, I was just, then there's my microphone. That was actually more up over here up until recently, but I thought if I moved it, I could get better use out of it. So there's Fatty sitting in his chair, but yeah, just wanted to make some changes. So, let's go back to this. Wait, what? What are you going to do with the old stream camera? I'm going to use it. It's a G7 Pro, a Panasonic G7 Pro. Like, it's not super high end or anything, but I've had it for years. It gives great image quality. I really like it. Like, in fact, you know what? I'll just show you this too, because, just because. Let me do this. CIM, panoramic. I think it's this one. Oh, right. Like, oh yeah. So like, just as an example, like this was me just standing in my doorway yesterday, like getting a shot of my backyard. Oh, that was too dark. This one, no. I actually had one that I really liked when I was messing with stuff. Yeah, like this. So like with when I'm doing shots for like product reviews and that sort of thing, like I really like the aesthetic here. I like the color reproduction. I like the bokeh-ish look, the blur in the background. I'm really happy with the G7. I've had it for years, and it's always just been a webcam for me, and it really made me sad because I wanted to start getting better shots for my products rather than just using my Samsung camera. So I paid a couple $100. I got the new Facecam Pro, so that I can actually put that to good use. So yeah, that's my plan anyway. Let's see. Spudnik says, have you looked at N8N? I have a little bit. It's not really my cup of tea. I've messed with it a little. I don't know. It didn't do it for me. I used Active Pieces for a while. I really liked that, until it started having a ton of issues, where it would just start having kind of a mind of its own. And I hated that. I may spin it back up at some point. What am I catching on? I may spin it back up at some point to do some automation stuff for me. But I haven't had a chance to mess with it lately. Just got the normal Facecam on Linux, with no app hold on. Normal Facecam on Linux with no app. Colors are washed out on OBS. Yeah, no, I believe that. It's a very flat. It's a very neutral. It's a very neutral color, and they do that on purpose, which I actually kind of appreciate. Like if I click, like this is center weighted. This is nothing, right? Or I can do average, or I can change it to spot, which kind of darkens it a little bit. But I can come in and I can say, let's bring the ISO down a little bit. I had it like I think I had it like 245 earlier, and then I might change. Oops, that's too far. I might change this to like 30, and then it doesn't look nearly as washed out. It looks a little bit better. But then I need to adjust, like the contrast and the saturation a little bit, to get it where I want it. I can kind of give it kind of a kind of a washed out feel, but more of a more color rich washed out feel. I can adjust the saturation. I can go full black and white, or I can go way over the top. But there's a lot of stuff in here I just haven't messed with a whole bunch. I actually think I like that quite a bit. So I guess we're going to answer some questions. N8N does some automations for me, like adding a song to my Jellyfin library when I create a bookmark in Karakeep. That's pretty cool. Like I said, I've messed with N8N a little bit. I don't know. I guess it's the interface is a very big thing that you kind of zoom around in and whatnot, and I get lost, and I'm not a big fan of that. There is a dude that does some pretty cool stuff with N8N. He basically let AI take over his home. YouTube, I let AI control my home with N8N. Can I find him? God, I can't think what his name was, but he does some pretty neat stuff, and it's kind of his whole shtick is N8N stuff. Again, just not my thing. The automations that I did was with Active Pieces, and it was fine. What's your view on vibe coding? I have mixed feelings on vibe coding. Coming from a front end development perspective, my issue with vibe coding is that if you don't understand the code that's being produced on your behalf by AI, you're not going to know what types of things to look for from a security perspective. Because AI still has such a huge tendency to hallucinate, it's entirely possible that you could say, hey, look, I want to make sure that this thing can't happen. and it will interpret that as make sure this thing happens. You know, and it's unless if here's what I'll say. I think vibe coding is fine to get the basic premise of an app, right? And then you can take that basic premise of an app and say, look, here's what I want the app to do. I'm going to hand this off to you, a developer with a lot of experience, to go through this to look for potential issues. Because AI isn't always going to have the best idea of how to avoid those kinds of things. So producing an app that is 100% vibe coded without a reality check from an experienced developer, I think is a bad idea with where AI is currently. See, there's no app on Linux. Sad, have to mess around with color correction and filters. I believe that in OBS, yeah. In the worst case, sign up or spin up a Windows VM, pass the Basecamp through the VM. Ooh, that's a lot. Are you all right, mate? You look tired. That's not nice. I'm fine. I got lots of sleep last night. I've been actually sleeping better. Here's what I will say, though. I know I look different. I've been working out and eating better for the last couple of months, like consistently. So I know that has affected my overall aesthetic. So the thinner look that you're probably seeing is weight loss, not necessarily being tired. Thanks for noticing, I guess. Let's see. I use updating my Linux boxes, etc., for fixing broken RSS feeds. Yeah, look, there are definitely things that you can do with AI that are great. Like I will have it do bits of research for me that I then double check to make sure are accurate. I will have it review my script sometimes, my video scripts, to help make things a bit more succinct. But I always make sure to go through them and modify them to be my voice, that sort of thing. I think there's a lot of things that AI can do well, but I still think it's too early to be using it for everything. So yeah. Man, I don't know how. Oh, there it is. Vazio says, "True, you look skinnier. Good for you. Thank you." I went to the doctor like May, June, July, August are like, I guess it's really June, July, August are kind of my big doctor months, and I got on the scale and I was devastated by what I saw, and I got home that afternoon and I bought a treadmill. And it's one of those that goes under my standing desk out there. This is a standing desk too. I just don't use it that way. So yeah, I bought a treadmill from man, I can't think of the name of the company. Standing desk treadmill. Man, I'll never find it. Anyway, it's from the company that I've done standing desk stuff with in the past. It's been great. I was getting real close to the top end of what was allowed on the treadmill. I am much farther under that now. And I said like 10 to 15 pounds, kind of somewhere there in the last 2 months is what I'm down. But like I've completely changed my diet. I've changed my workouts. I've changed a lot of stuff. But in such a way that I'm happy with how it's being handled. Excuse me. So yeah, I feel better. Like I'm able to move better. I'm able to like walk longer. Obviously, I walk almost every morning. I've been kind of slacking this week because I've been dealing with some stuff, but I've been making up with my morning walks in other ways. So I've been working on my physical health. I've been working on my mental health. So they work in conjunction with each other. And because of all of that, I'm also sleeping better. So yeah, it's all working together in a kind of a harmonious way. MZABD says my sleep schedule is kind of off track. I don't sleep. Dude, I've been there. Back in 2016, there would be like there'd be times where I wouldn't sleep for 4 or 5 days at a time, despite taking the meds that the doctors gave me to help me sleep. They would normally like just knock anybody on their butt. I would take them a couple of times a day per prescription, and it wouldn't even faze me. I'd be up for days at a time. So I've been there, and it's no fun. It's really bad for your mental health. It can do bad things to you over the long run. So I hope you're able to get some help with that somehow. Captain Spudnik says, I mostly use AI for coding and scripting. I'm not a coder or script, but it's the noob's way out. I agree. Here's what I encourage you to do is, if you're going to vibe code something, take that vibe coded code to a completely different AI and say, hey, look, I want you to explain this to me. And start learning what's being output to you. When I got into developing websites, I've never been good with design. I haven't. So I would look at HTML code. Like I would do a view source and figure out what was going on. That was back in like 1999 though, but it's how I got interested in technology and web development, that sort of thing. So yeah, I encourage you to take the code that you're being provided and figure out what each line, what each element does, that sort of thing. So you can start learning what things to look for. Yeah, Captain Spec, all fine until you face to face with an error. Yeah, taking meds to sleep, I hope for the best. Yeah, I hope that works for you. I don't want to give advice, but meds are a good start. But you know, exercise, getting away from screens, finding ways to lower stress. Exercise has been a big one for me. Like, I'm not busting my ass, right? Like, I'm walking like 20 to 25 minutes a day, most of the time lately. But I'm also throughout the day, like, 3 weeks ago, I replaced the sway bar and links in my car. The following weekend, I replaced the brakes on my car. The following weekend, I replaced my wife's alternator. So I'm being more deliberately active rather than just sitting at my desk like I did for so long. I still do a fair amount of that, but I'm also getting up and doing more things away from my desk. And that's been hugely helpful as well. But more than that, it's been like I don't drink soda anymore. My sugar intake is the coffee creamer that I use in my morning coffee. As far as like added sugar, like a lot of thing has sugar in it, and like fruit has a lot of vegetables, but fruit has a lot of vegetables. Fruit has a lot of sugar in it, but it's a different process of your body absorbing that. So lots of fruits and vegetables, lots of rice and beans, lentils, quinoa, just that kind of stuff. Meal prepping has been helpful because if I've got something that I know is healthy, I can go grab that versus, grabbing a snack bar or whatever. So it's been a lot of things that I changed very, very quickly in quick succession, but it's been helpful. Again, not advice. It's just what I did. It's what's working for me. Also, Kodiak pancake mix is high protein, which is great. But like I'll mix up enough for like a couple of servings in a bowl. I get it the right consistency and microwave it for 90 seconds and then put Greek yogurt on top of it. It's so good. It's really filling, high protein, just so good. And it satiates all kinds of cravings that I have. So it's kind of like my morning treat that's actually healthy. It's a great way for me to start the day. So anyway, let's come back over to here. I'm disappointed that this isn't what I thought it was, because I really like XKCD. If you're not familiar with XKCD, you should be. Great stuff. All kinds of comics in here that like dumb down complex ideas in a fun way, and I love it. So I was hoping it'd be more of that, but I was wrong, which I guess makes sense because it is copyrighted material. Let's find something else. Let's find. I try really tired of this too. Let's see. Let's see if there's anything about Docker. Hey, look, Docker Docs. Is this actually going to be Docker Docs? Maybe. Cool. Let's download that. Right. We're going to do this. We're going to right click, copy link address. We're going to come back over to here. We're going to do wget. Oh, geez, that was not at all what I meant to do. And hit enter. Cool. Let's restart that and see, right? There, this, yeah, that's the one. And that time, that's so weird. At that time, I just found it. I've had such mixed results with consistency as far as that's concerned. But you know, if you want to have Docker Docs available to you so you can learn more about Docker, even if you're offline, I think that's awesome. That's actually really neat. But there's just so many different things in here. As far as like, is there, oops, self. Oh, you know what? Let's do hosting. Interesting. Noted is in there. Huh. Oh, yeah, there it is. Huh, I'll be damned. I didn't know you could like have your site submitted. That's pretty neat, actually. But yeah, like adding, if you want to know more about Arch, you can do that. Like I actually really dig the TED stuff. Holy cow, there's a bunch of stuff in there. TED membership, work-life books. Wow, NFTs, metaverse, emotions, diversity, work, capitalism, and NASA. Ooh, let's do NASA. Oops. Let's do NASA. I like NASA. NASA's fun. Let's take a look at this. We're going to come back over to here, right? We're going to go CD into this, and we'll do a wget. Paste that. Maybe. All right, there it goes. So this is going to be a little slower. Oh, wow. All right, that's so weird. Refresh. See, but this time it didn't find it. I'm so confused about why sometimes maybe it just takes longer to index, and it indexed that really fast because it was a very small thing. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe I was just being impatient before, and restarting it was enough to. We'll give it a minute because it was. Let's take a look at this. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, I'm running out of space there already. Huh. Yeah, no, I understand, ABD. Like I get that, but like with Docker, I didn't have to. And I don't remember installing Bottlenecks. Did that just automatically come back with something else? Because like I didn't restart and Docker Docs showed up. So I want to give it a minute and see if it auto indexes. Because like the when was this? This was at 51. This is fairly real time. So I feel like this is what we're seeing here, is it doing some indexing. Right, I'm just going to give it a minute, I suppose. If it hasn't done it in the next couple of minutes, I will absolutely redeploy. I think it's interesting that, but maybe I was just being impatient before. What is this? That's a pressure stall. Interesting. Yeah. So like right now it's in the middle of an IO pressure stall. I genuinely don't know what that means. I've never seen that before. I don't know if that's something new in Proxmox 9 or if I just never scrolled far enough down. So it looks like this is coming back down. That's good. All right, well then let's go over to here. Oops. Do that. Restarting. Yeah, there it is. So there's NASA. And again, this is all local, right? And if I open that, right, here's the little article. If I do an inspect, so this is what I wanted to see. So if I copy, oops, let me do this, right? Oh, that's not really what I wanted. Can I copy link address, right? This is what I wanted to see here. So this is the full URL. This is a local video file, right? And it's right there. So not only are we getting the article that goes around with it or that goes with it, it's also giving us the actual video. Now it's going to be in like 480p, I think. But you know, if you're just trying to acquire the information, I think that's probably fine. But I love that you're actually getting not only the article, but you're also getting the media that goes with it. That's a good question. I don't think that this has dark mode. Now that's not to say that it isn't available. Let's do this. I actually had Gemini produce, again, using AI here, right? I had it produce this Docker Compose, but I asked it to do this after I had already deployed this because I wanted to see if maybe I was missing something. Does Kiwix have a dark mode option in Docker Compose? Let's find out. Does not have a native dark mode option. The web interface is a simple server that displays the content of Zim files. It does not have a built-in theming capability control. Okay. This is saying use a browser extension, which is unfortunate. But you know, well, that's neat. There's actually stuff down there about that. So no, it looks like this doesn't have that. Let's scroll back up. Proxmox IO pressure stall refers to processing waiting for disk operations to complete, indicating a potential storage bottleneck. This can be caused by slow or overloaded storage, ZFS or NFS issues. That's kind of what I figured it was, but again, I hadn't actually ever seen it before, so I never thought to look it up. But no, thank you for sharing that. I actually appreciate that. I am disappointed that there isn't a dark mode option for this, because I would very much like to see a dark mode option. You could create your own if you really wanted to, just by editing some CSS stuff. I don't know if it's HTML is set to white, or if there's just, oh yeah, right there. You could do background color. That's weird. That's for selection. I mean, you could do something like, background color. You could do like, no, you could start building your own theme pretty easily, and have a pretty, you have a customized kind of thing there. I don't know if there's anything. Sorry, is it this? No, I want that. Yeah, and you could do something like this. Yeah, Stylish. I love using Stylish. Stylish is one of my favorite extensions, especially for stuff like this. Just because you can have your own custom CSS built in for each website. You can adjust it on the fly for yourself. Stuff that I like to do in there, especially if it's an annoying thing. I might say like, I don't want this, right? I don't want the feed link, right? I don't want this feed link. So I might do display none, right? And I just get rid of it, so I'd have to look at it. I think Stylish is actually reputable. Stylish Chrome browser. Yeah, like 2 million users. You know, it's featured. So I imagine it's probably fine to use. The one thing that I think, I don't know that it actually will. I think each browser you're gonna have to like have. I don't know that if it goes from like if I set up something here in Stylish, I don't know that it would automatically transfer to like my other computer in the other part of the house. I don't know if there's like an account thing kind of thing where it would synchronize. But I love using it because I like to go in and customize my different things, especially if there's a white mode only or a light mode only kind of thing. I like to have control over that. Like for instance, here, like there's no need for this bottom bar, right? This bottom scroll bar. So I might take that out, you know, and do like an overflow X would be hidden, right? And then if I close that out, yeah. So now I don't have to worry about that bottom bar showing up and screwing up the aesthetic. So just little things I like to do with Stylish every once in a while. But anyway, you know, I wanted to share Kiwix with you guys in case you hadn't seen it, because it's really neat. And I think I will probably set up my own Kiwix server at some point. The other thing that I wanted to show here, now that I've come back over here and was talking about it, is that you can get your own hotspot. Oh, you know, before we do that, if we go to downloads, there's Kiwix apps. Yeah. So you can get this for Android. You can get it for Windows, Mac, for GNU Linux. You got your binaries there. You got browser extensions for Raspberry Pi. You can download the operating system only. I think this is a bit much. You know, you can just download the operating system, but if you want to just buy a pre-built solution, they get spendy. You know, and they've got different solutions depending on, are you a prepper? Are you into medical stuff? I feel like this one's a bit much, this computer. If you're looking for this kind of information, you probably have enough knowledge to just download this and build your own, you know, USB or oh, I see. Interesting. So you can buy the hotspot, or you can just buy that. Interesting. Yeah, this is probably something that I would probably deploy this on a Raspberry Pi in Docker. Or I mean, you don't necessarily have to go that route. I guess you could use the binaries and install it that way. But to pay for that, to pay for the ISO, I don't know, man. I have mixed feelings on that. Again, I appreciate what they're doing, right? I guess you could do like a contribution of $25 and build out your own custom service, your own custom setup here. I don't know. But I think it's a cool idea. I might actually consider building something like this on a. I think I've got a Raspberry Pi back there. I could use and have an offline service just in case the internet goes down, apocalypse hits, or whatever the case might be. I think that having something like this could be super useful. Of course, the old merch would be kind of cool. That's funny. I actually really dig that. Yeah, so anyway, lots of cool stuff here. Downloads, all the apps, there's the library. I think you could easily come in here and find the stuff that you're looking for and build your own library and have your own little, whether it's a mini PC or Raspberry Pi or whatever, build your own custom solution here. Or if you had lots and lots of time, you could just replicate this and just download everything and build your own setup here. The one thing I've wondered about, maybe some of you guys know, I don't, is how often do these libraries, these Zim files, get updated? I don't know. I don't know if they actually say. This is Coedox. I don't know. See, this is from 2020. So I don't know how often this stuff is getting updated. So there is that to keep in mind as well. But again, this could just be one specific thing. Let's look at PHP manual. Maybe this will have something more. So this says 21 through 24. This is frame source. Interesting. But anyway, I don't know. I think it's a great tool. I love the idea of being able to have this as an offline backup of all kinds of things. But again, like the Wikipedia, Wikipedia is 109 gigs for the full thing. But if you think about it, for that much information, 109 gigs, really not too much, not too bad at all. But of course, you can break that down into different topics and subtopics and all kinds of things. So Andrew says there's been some discussion around monetization of self-hosted services lately. I'm curious about that. Just tired or sick of apps paywalling SSO. I agree. I do agree with that. I think the way to handle that to some degree is have a reverse proxy and your own SSO that work together. Like I'm a big fan of Pangolin, and I know that you can add your own self-hosted SSO to that, which will get you to a certain point. But I know that some apps within that, will maybe paywalled with SSO. And I think that's a big part of it, is that the people who are more likely to use SSO are going to be businesses, right? And I think we talked about it last week as far as somebody asked if I use SSO, and I installed Authentic just to kind of see what the process was. But the reality is I'm the only one that uses my apps, right? Like my wife uses our password manager. And anybody who has access to my Plex server just has a Plex account. But beyond that, everything that I need access to log into, I'm the only one using it. So I don't know that everybody needs SSO. It's a very cool concept. It's a very cool technology, but I agree. I don't know that implementing it is necessarily worth it or going to be worth it for everybody. So I think the people that they are targeting for that are more likely to do it because they're going to have, a dozen or 100 or 1,000 employees that they want to be able to manage their rights from one central location, rather than having to log into each of their different self-hosted services and manage their permissions there. So unfortunately, there you go. SSO can also add. I love passkeys. Passkeys are one of the coolest things. I've gone passwordless on a few things as a result of that, and I love it. It kind of creeped me out the first time I used it, but then the second and third and fourth, and after that, every time I had to log into something and I was able to use a passkey, I was just blown away. Just absolutely loved the simplicity of it. Let's see. Found info online. It says on average they update the zip files on a 6-month basis, although some high traffic sites like Wikipedia, they update monthly. That's really good to know. That's really cool. Thank you for doing the research on that. That's really cool. Yeah, I absolutely think I'm going to go through and build out my own setup here. I think it's such a cool thing to be able to have this offline, and like obviously Wikipedia is, I think, really important to the world, right? But when you go there, oops. Like, I understand that they've got their overhead and they've got their stuff, but very often, across the top you'll get you'll get the big banner of, hey, can you spare $2.75? Can you help support us? And I 100% agree that these places need to be supported, because it's effectively our Library of Alexandria, right? Like all of human knowledge is here in some capacity as far as public knowledge. And if this goes away, that sucks. But yeah, like not having the big banner, like if they could do it in such a way that wasn't as intrusive, and I understand the point is to be intrusive, but sometimes it's just a lot. I just need this one little bit of information. I don't visit Wikipedia all that often, honestly. So I don't know. Like, I understand where they're coming from, but the big pushes that they do, like once a quarter or once a whatever, it's very intrusive, and I understand that's the point, but it's still not great. But yeah. Let's see. CompuBit says I've downloaded the ArchWiki one from Wikipedia, and I think another. Yeah, and I will probably go through and find a bunch of stuff. Like I said, like I've got, like I downloaded the Urban Prepper one because I was genuinely curious about some of this stuff, and like here we're seeing, like we're seeing these 4, but there's actually 9 videos in this section. If you open it up, it's kind of like a YouTube playlist. We've got vehicle prep, urban bug out bags, and each of these, like this one, the home prepping system, has 95 videos. There's a bunch of great information in here. I don't know when these were actually, oops, I don't want to do that. So 2017, so less than 10 years. But I think this is pretty cool. My father-in-law is just going to poop himself with excitement when he sees this. But I will absolutely go through and start building out my own. I'll have to come up with a solution for it. I've actually got a little NVMe NAS that I think would be perfect for this, actually. Maybe that'll be my project. Maybe that'll be a video. I did a video. In fact, you can see it. Well, you can't see the video, right? But you can see right there. This should have been my lead for. I think Kiwix should have been my lead on what this would be good for. This should have been a Kiwix server. I don't know if you guys saw my video about the K100, but it's an all NAS mini, or it's an all NAS mini PC. No, it's an all NVMe NAS, and it's tiny, right? Like it runs on like an N100. I think that's why it's called the K100. I don't know if I've got drives in this. This might actually be a video on what this would be really good for, because it's only going to pull about 5 watts. It doesn't have to be fast because we're just rendering static files. I think this would be a perfect solution for this. If I can get it to come apart. I remember how I got that apart. front. Thank you. There it goes. Sometimes percussive maintenance works. And 2 more screws to get into here. I can't tell if there's storage in here. So that's what I'm checking, is to see if there's storage. I gotta buy storage this week. I've got some projects coming up that I need storage for. And I hate buying storage. Oh, I do. Well, I'll be there. There is storage in there. Interesting. I don't think these are huge drives. I don't think I would need huge drives. Let me see how big these are. These are 256 gig drives. There's 4 of them, so a terabyte. So if I did 1 for my operating system and 3 in RAID, I would still have 500 gigs, 512 gigs. I may have to move some things around or get some different storage. Do you have a PO box or something similar? If not, when will you set one up? I did have one set up for a while, and then I never. It rarely ever got used. So I never. Like, I think I had it for like 6 months. I think I had signed like a 6-month deal with the UPS store or something, to have a PO box there. And then after that, it didn't get used enough to be worth the like $40 a month or whatever I was paying for it. What? Oh, geez. So confused for a minute. Did you have something you wanted to send me? It's such a specific question. That's why I'm asking, is if you have something that you're wanting to send me, because I would be interested in hearing more about that. But you can like hit me up in Discord, or you can email me with more information if you'd like to do that. Because I think I would be curious. I got literally close to 1 ton of equipment that goes from the yearly 80s to last year. What to share some for your projects? Wow. Got close to a ton of equipment. That is, yeah. So email me. Please email me. I would love to know more about that. Or again, if you're part of the Discord server, you can DM me. Let me do this. Hold on. That's fine. I'm just gonna access point route, network storage. Wow. Tell you what, I'm gonna copy and paste my email address in here. I don't know if that's my email address. It's public information. I don't care about sharing it here. I would love to get more information. That would be really neat. Yeah, no, if you want to email me, that'd be really cool. Because that could be fun, like taking a look at older tech or newer tech or, whatever, man. I think that'd be a lot of fun. We could probably figure something out with that. Yeah, that's thank you for considering me for that. Sorry, since I rearranged the studio, I'm in a different spot. I used to be over there, and now I'm here, and I'm realizing that this part of the garage isn't level. So if my chair isn't actually physically hooked under my desk, I randomly roll away. So anyway, yeah. Oh, hey, somebody just subscribed. That's cool. Wow, I work in IT since the internet wasn't a thing. Yay for BBS users. Yeah, 50, some massive collection of stuff I can't imagine. I I didn't feel like very young IT pro in her 30s. Keep that mentality. Please keep that mentality as long as you can, Mandy, because eventually the tech will win, and you won't feel as young anymore. Uh, like I think we've talked about it a little bit over some different streams. So I'm gonna this Thursday is my birthday. This coming Thursday, and like we got internet when I was, I think, a junior in high school. Like our high school got internet when I was a junior in high school. I think maybe I was a sophomore, junior, and I just didn't care. I didn't see what all the big deal was. I didn't care. We lived in a very, very small town. Like when I lived there, it was like 5,000 people. Or when I was in high school, it was like 5,000 people. And I just it was a country town. It was very rural. I hate that word. But we had people they would drive trucks. They would drive their truck to school or ride their horse to school, and they would go hunting after school and keep all of their hunting stuff in their truck so they could just go hunting after school. They would lasso each other on lunch break. Like this is the kind of town I grew up in. So the internet it didn't appeal to me. I didn't think about it. I wasn't kind of that far in, but I had my group of friends and we were kind of the city kids. But like I didn't get into the internet much until 2005, 2006. I started learning how to build websites with Joomla, and then and then I did some website development for a while, and I just didn't care for a while, and it's only been in the last 5 or 6 years that I've really gotten into tech. Like I've always been technically inclined, but as far as like really getting into tech, like I didn't spend a lot of time on forums or BBSs or any of that stuff. Like I got into chat rooms in the early 2000s, like AOL chat, Yahoo chat, those sorts of things, met some cool people. It's actually why I ended up going to Scotland. I met somebody in a Yahoo chat in like early 2000, and we hit it off and kept in touch. And even when I went to basic training, she sent me care packs from Scotland that included chocolate and stuff I wasn't supposed to have. But as far as like getting into tech, like I didn't have like the modem where you had to like put the phone on it to make the modem work. I never got into it that early. But I've kind of made up for it since then. So like I don't have a lot of the old tech. Like I said, I had one of those TI 99s. A TI 99. It was a TI 99 4A. We talked about that last week a little bit. I had a Commodore 64. I learned some very basic programming, that sort of thing, but don't have any of that anymore. Which is fine. Like I'm not a big. I say that. I was never a big hoarder when it came to tech. And I don't mean hoarder disrespectfully. Like they're like level 1 techs, dude. His hoard is admirable. Like some of the stuff he's got and the information that he knows about that really old tech that he's got in his basement at his office building, mind blowing. But I just never really got into that kind of thing. I also moved around a lot as a kid, so yeah, I was never able to keep a hold of a lot of that stuff. So now I've got my little hoard, back on the shelf there. I think most all of my tech hoard is behind me, minus some storage on a shelf over there. Yeah, there's a couple of GPUs right there, but 1200 BPS dial-up. Geez, like my first internet connection that was mine was 56K. And then we got broadband. So I got a a DSL line that was 256K, and that was fast back in the day. That was mind blowing. Like, people were envious of my DSL 256K modem. And now I can't even imagine. But back then also, websites were coded differently, right? Like, it was static websites that didn't require, a 4 meg header image, and 12 different JavaScript libraries to make the hover work properly, or all of the tracking libraries to build the online profiles the data brokers have on us. And no, this isn't a segue to a sponsorship. It's just websites back then were coded differently. So you could realistically have a very fast experience online, even with a 256K modem. I mean, comparatively. But you couldn't do that now because of all of the different things that websites are expected to have to give a good experience. And now I've got a symmetrical 3 gig connection, and it's stupid. Like, it's unnecessary. I don't need a 3 gig connection, but it was cheap, so I got it. So it's crazy. Right? Sites were not what they are now. Stuff loaded line by line. No instant images like today, right? Like, dude. Oh, so I remember my first apartment, my roommate had, I don't remember what kind of a computer it was, but our internet connection was an AOL CD. So that dates me a little bit. This was like 90. This would have been early 99. I was still in high school. But my roommate had a computer. We had the free AOL discs. And there was a preview for, I think it's when like the Star Wars prequels were coming out. There was a trailer for one of those, and he wanted to download it. And it was like 400 megs, which was huge. It was huge. It took like 2 days to download it, and it was almost done. He was a few hours away from this 400 meg file being downloaded. Somehow the download window was up and the cancel button was in focus, and he didn't realize it when he hit the space bar, and it canceled like a day and a half, almost 2 days worth of download for this 400 meg file. And it was devastating. Like he really wanted, and he had to wait like 2 more days to get this file, and it was only like a 2-minute clip, but it was like 400 megs because we didn't have the compression back then. We didn't have the speed back then. It was such a crap show for media. Not even like questionably legal media acquisition. Just watching videos, downloading videos to watch. It was a much different time back then. And now you can acquire a 3 or 4 gig movie in minutes. Depending on your connection and whatnot. But yeah, it's crazy how far we've come in our own lifetimes. So I remember being mad at whoever called my landline as it would crash my internet connection. That and calling a couple of names. Oh yeah, Netscape browser sucked. Yeah, no, it was not great, but I don't remember ever really having an issue with my calls being, or with my line being called and having that get screwed up. I don't know that because like I said, I had that 56K connection for a while, but then once I got the DSL line, it ran on a different set of twisted pairs on the phone line, so it didn't really. I had an always on connection, so it kind of fixed that problem, so I didn't have to worry about it. I was in college with in the sweet spot, fast internet, but no rules in Napster. Yeah. I used Napster and what was it? The LimeWire was the other one. I can't tell you how many times I had to reinstall my operating system because of my lack of knowledge for what to look for. And back then, reinstalling an operating system was you set aside a weekend. Like you set aside a weekend to reinstall an operating system, because even if you were on CDs or DVDs, our processors weren't fast. And then we had to go reacquire all of our, the applications that we used. It was a huge process that was like, it was a thing, man. I didn't enjoy that at all. And now I've got little tricks that I use. I've been very fortunate that I haven't had to reinstall Windows in a really long time. Like I've done it preventatively a couple of times just for good measure, but it was probably fine before I did that. I don't know. User profile U3Z says, what keeps you motivated? Depends on the day. It really depends on the day. Some days I'm not. Like, and interestingly, the summertime is when I'm the least motivated. And it's not like a seasonal depression kind of thing or whatever, or a reverse seasonal depression kind of thing. It's the way I've pigeonholed myself into my content style. Like I very much talk about Docker applications and self-hosted applications and access to our self-hosted applications and those sorts of things, right? When I do a video about a mini PC, I can almost be assured that video won't do nearly as well as talking about a self-hosted application. So I very much pigeonholed myself into talking about self-hosted related application services, proxies, operating systems, the software side of things, right? I've managed to really, again, pigeonhole myself into that sort of thing. The problem with that is that in the summertime, people are on holiday, they're on vacation, depending on where you are. Same thing, different slang. People are not, they're not releasing applications and that sort of thing quite as much. And so that limits the kind of applications that I think will do well during the warmer spring, summer, and early fall months. There's all kinds of new applications being released all of the time, and Ethan Shawley has a whole newsletter dedicated to that kind of thing. The problem is that, and it's not to dig on vibe coders, but it's a lot of vibe coded note-taking applications. It's a lot of vibe coded secret sharing applications and like file sharing applications, and it's all very much the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And that breaks my spirit. That genuinely breaks my spirit when I'm looking for something to share with you guys, to have a conversation with you guys about, and it's like, oh, here's the 11th note-taking application that's been released in the last month. It makes it very hard for me in those warmer months of the year to find an application that I'm really, really excited about. And even taking a look at Kiwix here, it's like I said, Tech Hut made a video about Kiwix like 2 years ago, I think. Let me see, Tech Hut, Kiwix. Jeremy from Noted made a video about Kiwix 3 years ago. So it's very much I am very behind the curve on this one. And it's, so in the summer months, it's hard for me to stay motivated sometimes. In the colder months, developers are sitting on their computers more. They're developing more apps. They're doing more stuff. And it's way easier for me to be motivated during those months because that's when the really, really exciting stuff is coming out. And it's not to say exciting stuff doesn't come out in the warmer months. It is just fewer and farther between, based on what I'm looking for in an application. So yeah, let's see. Vaz says today any random watch has 100 times more processing power than those old computers. You're not wrong. Like more processing power than what put us on Mars, or not on Mars, on the moon. Radio says I'm not too young, but my first connection was a fiber link 1 gig symmetrical about 20 years ago. Wow, we were really lucky in Romania to have really fast internet. No joke. Like, I wasn't able to get a symmetrical connection until 2 years ago where I live. And I'm in a fairly densely populated city in America, so that's bonkers. I can't imagine having internet that fast 20 years ago. That blows my mind. Mandy says, this week I deployed a self-hosted version of GitHub called ForgeJo. I've always wondered how that's pronounced. I've seen that, but I've never looked at it. I've got a Git instance that I've had up and running for a while. Just because I've got some nodes stored there and I've got some SSH stuff stored there, but it's not publicly available, and I'll never make it publicly available because that's just asking for problems. Zero Linux says my current connection is ADSL 16 megs down and half a meg up. That makes my soul hurt on your behalf. I can't imagine. I genuinely cannot imagine. Is that actually working? I'll be damned. Yeah. Let's see. I'm looking at doing something similar soon. Not fully on board with Microsoft absorbing all of our GitHub. Right? Well, and that's I think that's another thing, right? Like Docker put in limitations on how many pulls a non-authenticated account could have in a day, which I get. They're trying to rate limit to a certain degree to prevent issues, right? I get it. I do. But then people are like, well, fine, I'll just move all of my hosting over to GitHub, where there aren't limitations like they've got there. But then they were bought by Microsoft. GitHub was, and so now they're using that information and it's everybody just wants your data, and this is why we self-host. It's really sad that we've had to as a sub community we've had to kind of go back to the way things used to be. We've had to kind of go back to a different way of handling things and becoming our own community of sharing ways to not be tracked by everyone. And that, it just blows my mind. It just really, really does. Yeah, it genuinely makes me sad. Yep, you're right. Even if your repo is private on GitHub, it now belongs to Microsoft. That's basically what I was trying to say, but you said it much more succinctly. Yeah, it sucks. And I'm not a developer any longer. Like, I did front end. I never really did much back end. Like, I would write a WordPress function if I needed a very simple, specific piece of functionality. And I would throw that in a functions file in the theme and then call it into the front end. It wasn't anything fancy. But like, some of these applications are intense, and all of that's being used as training data. And if you disagree with them using your data for training data, or your information for training data, then you've got to move it to a different platform. And then all of a sudden, and I think that's kind of what the guy behind Lendpaste did, was he was like, fine, I will host this on my own Git server. But then he ran into issues with his internet connection wasn't great at the time. And it's like, oh, well, now my stuff doesn't get seen by as many people because it's not on a primary repository. It's the same thing as being a content creator. Like, yeah, I could go join Rumble. I could go join Odyssey. I've had accounts on both of those platforms, but they don't get any views there. And it's the same thing as a developer. If your applications aren't on the primary platforms, you're less likely to be seen, unless you're part of a community that can then share your platform. But then if you go to Reddit and you're like, hey, here's this application I made, if you post that at the wrong time and you get downvote bombed, your awesome project may never get seen because of trolls on Reddit. It's a real crap situation that we're in, that we have to play this big game to be seen by people, so that we can be seen by more people, so that we can get our thoughts and opinions out there. And it's to me, it's kind of sad that everything now has to be monetized. Like, the first video I made wasn't in the hopes of making money. It wasn't. Like, I was excited about something. I was excited to show what I had just learned in hopes that it would help someone else. And here I am 5 years later, and it went from something I was really excited about and whatnot to like, hey, this is now a big chunk of my paycheck. And everybody's turning their hobby into a side hustle, into a way to bring in money because minimum wage or wages in general just aren't keeping up with the inflation rates that we're seeing. And it's not just in the United States. It's not a political statement. It's across the board, across the world. People aren't being paid enough to keep up. And that's by design. So, we've got our little sub communities and we hope that the things that we want to talk about, the things that we want to share, get shared in the right places at the right times before they get downvote bombed into oblivion. So, turns out I've got more opinions on that than I even realized until I started talking. So, yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think that's what I had to say there. Yeah, inflation sucks everywhere. You're 100% right. It's bonkers. The dollar or the whatever doesn't go nearly as far as it used to. Mosaic. Mosaic sounds familiar. Why does Mosaic sound familiar? It was a browser. Oh, okay. Mosaic browser. Maybe that's why it sounds familiar. Oh no, this was before my time. Yeah, no, this is definitely before my time. That looks like Windows, like what, 3.1? 1993. Man, I think that's even pre 3.1. 3.1 release. Oh no, it could have been 3.1. Yeah, Windows 3.1 was released in 92, so that's crazy. Man, we're getting old, guys. We're getting old. Oh man. All right, I think I'm going to start wrapping this up. I getting hungry. I think it's lunchtime. I'm going to go find something to eat. I hope you enjoyed checking out Kiwix if you hadn't heard of it or seen it before. Again, I'm probably gonna buy some storage and put together a Kiwix server on this little guy, so that we've got that access in case the internet goes down or whatever. So thank you guys for hanging out with me for a little bit today, whether it was you got here early and you were still here, or whether you just popped on to say hi and bail. I really appreciate you guys hanging out. If you haven't already, if you wanted to hit the like button, that would be really cool. If you want to support the channel, there's Patreon and there's channel memberships. Don't have merch. Sorry, cat's being weird. Anyway, yeah, so if you want to support, there's all kinds of stuff that you can do there. I'm going to go find something to eat. I'm probably going to have a burrito that have some stuff that I made, and probably going to go enjoy that, and then find something to do with the rest of my day. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, however much you've got left of that. Again, content coming this week, a couple of different things, I think. I've got a couple of product reviews I need to do, a couple of mini PCs I need to review finally. Got some software I want to review, that sort of thing. So, yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll talk again.